This is WWE Wrestling Legend Hall of Famer Tito Santana.
This is WWE NXT Superstar Lexis King.
And you are listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Arriba!
And you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Long live Lexis King.
What's up, crusters? This is the heavy metalweight MOSHPIT, coming straight out of the Providence Underground, and you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast.
You're looking at the best there
Austin
is.
316.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
You will rest
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. This is a big one. This is episode 43 of the Source WWE AEW All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
And today we are going to talk to you. We are going to drop some gospel on you. We have a special guest in the house tonight.
Yes, we do.
I have the absolute pleasure of introducing him to y'all. He is the WFA and Top Rope Pro Heavyweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, MOSHPIT.
What's up, guys? Stoked to be hanging with you.
We are very, very grateful to have you here today, Mr. MOSHPIT from the Providence Underground,
Hell
who's
yeah.
absolutely killing it right now as a double champion. How does it feel, MOSHPIT?
It's humbling, man. It's humbling to be out there and representing New England like
Oh,
that.
yeah. It's our home, man. And, yeah, we're not going to dilly-dally too much today. We have a bunch of questions for MOSHPIT. He is the first pro wrestling guest on the Source Wrestling Podcast. 43 episodes later, we thank you, sir. We know him as Andy. You will know him as MOSHPIT. So, yeah, guys, we're going to get right into it. It's the Source Wrestling Podcast. Let us talk to you. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Question number 1. How long have you been wrestling professionally, man?
I think we're coming up on 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, I think about 2.5 years active. I started training about 5 years ago.
Yeah, and that all happened down in XWA, Extreme Wrestling Alliance, correct?
It did. Started up in Providence, and then
Yes.
they grabbed me to help them with some lighting and stuff, and it all just kind of snowballed. And I saw that I could train with some really good people, and yeah, I couldn't say no.
Absolutely. I remember those School of the Deaf shows being lit. I was there for quite a few of them, like we talked about before we started the show. You know, when Foley was there, Bret Hart, guys like AJ Styles. You know, these were all guys that were coming through this company that you came up in. So that's pretty cool that you got your start there, 100%. Shout out to Mike Antonucci, a.k.a. Phoenix, for XWA. It is missed, 100%.
Very much.
All right, next question we have for you here is, at what moment in your life did you know, I want to be a pro wrestler?
Oof.
Like, did you know for sure that that's what you wanted to be?
I mean, I'd have to think about it because the opportunity was just kind of it happened on a whim. You know, I had a chance to say yes, which was I just took a chance.
Yeah, it's not something that you can plan, you know?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, when did your love for wrestling start? Because you said you always had a love for wrestling, so when did your love for wrestling start?
I think it was my mom, actually.
Really?
That's awesome.
My mom used to work security at the Dunk.
No.
Hey, me too. I did too, and my mom did too.
Yeah, I do work security.
So there you go.
So back then, you know, it was Providence Place Mall, and the Dunk had the same security team. So she would work all the SmackDowns and the Raws and stuff like that. And one time she asked me if I would be interested in going to see a SmackDown.
Duh.
Because like we kind of watched it together, you know, once in a while because my dad wouldn't let me. And she ended up taking me. I got to meet the Big Show.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
I get to meet a couple other really cool wrestlers, and I just remember thinking to myself, "This is larger than life.
It is.
This
It's an
is
attraction. You know?
This is everything. There's story. There's visual. There's costumes.
Yeah.
You know. There's fights.
It's like watching a movie.
It's
Every
like
week for 3
overstimulus
hours.
to the max.
How old were you at this point?
I was probably like 10 or 11,
10
maybe.
years old. Okay,
Wow.
so the love of wrestling started around 10 years old for Andy.
Yeah.
See that?
Pit.
That is really cool. My love of wrestling, if we're on the subject, man, probably like 5 years old was my earliest wrestling memory, going to my grandfather's house.
Yeah,
sitting
it
on
might
his
have been
couch.
about the same because my uncle was giving me wrestling videos probably as early as I could start.
Them dubbed
realizing what TV
VHSs
was.
with like WrestleMania 9.
It was like 3 on every one, Royal Rumbles. I saw
Yes.
so much. I
Yes.
got caught up pretty quickly. It's like I might have been born in '85, but like when in like 1990, I was watching wrestling videos from the '80s and '70s
Oh, yeah.
and
Right.
whatever, you know.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Wrestling brings people together, and that is why we are here today. Next question for Mosh Pit. This is, I like this question. What was it like to be trained by now AEW's own Vincent Marseglia and none other than Matt Taven as well? Two big names. These guys are crushing it right now. What was it like, Mosh Pit, to be trained by them?
Well, I probably say this a couple of times throughout the night, so I hope you don't get tired of hearing me say it, but it was very much a humbling experience, because especially when I went in and I first started training, I probably went in there with the wrong mindset. You know, I went in there as, you know, being in the military, and I had that like go-getter attitude, like I can do anything if I set my mind to it, and like
They humbled you, huh?
it did, because you just don't realize how hard everything that we do is.
I can imagine.
And
I can imagine.
Not knowing, like, I knew who they were prior, obviously.
Yeah,
But
me too.
their history and their experience and how deeply they were tied into New England wrestling, I didn't really come to appreciate until recently, when I started making my rounds around New England. And, you know, I'd say to a new promoter or something like that, hey, you know, I was trained by Matt Taven and Vincent. Here's a little bit of my work.
These are my credentials. Yeah, right.
Exactly. And to hear people, you know, to say, wow, you know, your trainers are some of the nicest people I've ever met. You know, they're always giving. They're always kind to the fans. You know,
Absolutely.
that kind of stuff is a reassurance of sorts that, like, wow, I have a really great upbringing. I have really great training. And I just want to continue that. You know?
Absolutely. And look at them now. You have now Vincent of the Righteous and Matt Taven of the Undisputed Kingdom. There's, doesn't get much bigger than that for those dudes.
As far as
And as far as
AEW
wrestling
goes,
fans, right? Like, because let's be honest, the Kingdom in Ring of Honor was one of my favorite things. Just to
I didn't
watch
know
as
that
far
was in
as-
ROH.
Oh, that
that.
started with good old Adam Cole, baby.
We are learning. We are learning.
There have
today.
been many iterations of the Kingdom, but that was my favorite.
I thought that was homegrown AEW idea. That's awesome.
Oh yeah,
Because I have seen those two guys, Vincent and Taven, on the back in the XWA days. You know, Mike would always have those two dudes on the card because they tore it down, and it's pretty cool to know that the Undisputed Kingdom was before AEW, and it's been a thing. Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah. I mean, prior to it was definitely just the Kingdom, but
Yeah. Oh, okay.
you know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But now that you got Adam Cole back in the mix, it has to be Undisputed.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, so let's get on to the next question.
Let's do it.
Here. This is a good one. How did you come up with the name Mosh Pit? Where did it come from?
We got to know.
What was the process? Or
That-
was it just a spur of the moment thing?
That was probably the only thing that I was sure about going.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a sick name.
It's
Awesome.
cool.
It's not used. You don't
It's
see it
unique.
out there.
Yeah, I've never heard it before you started
We
using
had
it.
Mosh from Mosh and Thrasher, but never a Mosh Pit.
Yeah, right.
And that when I came into it, I was like, I want something that represents me. You know,
Of
and
course.
and you guys know we've played countless shows.
My
together.
God, yeah. We haven't talked about it much on the show, but once again, our guest, all three of us are musicians again. The last guest we had was a musician, and we all are, and it just really ties into your character and your name, and it's you. You know what I mean? It really, really works.
Yeah, I think I brought that up maybe day one. And they kind of had this thing where new people, they would kind of put you up there kind of in promo position almost, and everybody would sit and watch you, and you had to tell everybody about yourself, and there were a couple of things that they wanted you to say, and then they wanted you to say your name in a way that everybody would remember it.
Okay.
And how did you
Right.
say it?
Well, I don't think it's very couth for the way I said it on it. I may have used some expletives. And
Oh, you can say what you want. You can say what you
so
want. This
I
is
said my
Spotify.
name is Andy fucking McMahon. And believe me,
his last name's McMahon, guys. It was meant to be. And as I sit next to him, he's on my left wearing a Vincent Kennedy McMahon T-shirt. Can we just thank him for that? It's the mugshot. It's very fitting. It's very fitting.
I think that's an important stipulation that it is the mugshot of Vince McMahon.
This is a wrestling show, 100%.
Very much.
So they just put you on the spot, and that was that, huh?
And that was like the first thing that popped into my head because they were like,
Fair.
obviously you can't say fuck if you want to be on TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like you want to be something that is that people remember immediately. And I was like, I want to be Mosh Pit.
I feel like that's really easy to remember.
Yeah.
You know? And the whole "see you in the pit" tagline.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize that.
That's why
sick.
I was using that in the
That's
promo
sick.
for this episode, guys.
Oh, yeah.
We are now here in the pit, and we are it's like Piper's Pit. You know,
I always say that on this show. Every wrestler needs a tagline, needs
Absolutely.
a saying, and there's certain
Absolutely.
wrestlers that don't, that we point out that
Yes,
don't ever
that
make
don't-
it because
that
they
don't really
never
progress,
have
and you have
a
that.
catchphrase. You have
Yes.
to have it.
Yeah.
And so,
and that works.
And like a lot of people who are my fans, they relate to it because they're metalheads. You know, like
Exactly.
That,
It's
that
just
see
even
you in the
more-
pit is a call to arms almost.
Absolutely.
I could see, honestly, I could see NXT knocking at your door.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you have the look, obviously you have the skills, you have the hardware here to prove it. He did bring both of his championship belts here, guys, and they're heavy. Just saying. They are heavy. So that is the story of how our friend Andy became Mosh Pit. Very unique name. Never been used. So shout out to you, man. Next question. This might be a tender subject, but worst in-ring injury or injuries, and what was the rehab time frame like for you?
Oof. So I've only really had one injury. I was very
cool.
I was very lucky that it wasn't more severe than it was. And it happened in training, which was kind of a bummer.
That's a kick in the
Yeah.
ass.
That sucks.
And it happened doing something very basic too, just a leapfrog. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was so simple.
Something you do every day.
Yep. Basically, very basic fundamentals of wrestling.
Yeah,
and
right.
It just so happened that in that moment, things weren't timed the way that they were supposed to
Okay.
be, and it was on me when I came down and I landed, and my knee just buckled on me.
Oh,
And
so was it a torn ACL or MCL?
so at first I thought it wasn't so bad because I could walk on it, and it was just really swollen.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Adrenaline probably must have been a factor
yeah,
too.
I was very hopeful that it would be, not so bad. I had it like X-rayed initially, and I should have had an MRI done. But I just had an X-ray, and they're like, "Nah, it doesn't look like your ACL's gone. You
Oh,
probably,
cool. I'm gonna
you
go train
probably-
on it."
Yeah, you probably messed up your meniscus, maybe your MCL. Just stay off of it like 6 weeks. Stop training, whatever." So I took the 6 weeks off. And then I came back, I taped my knee up, and I'm like, all right, let's just kind of see how I'm feeling. Let's go for a workout. And within 10 minutes, my knee buckled again.
Oh no, dude.
And I was
That
like,
was it.
I was right back in the same amount of swelling, and like I just knew it was worse.
Yeah.
So I finally got an MRI done, and they're like, well, you didn't snap your ACL, but it is torn. So like the way the doctor described it to me
6
was
to 8
like,
months probably, or
yeah, well, it was about 6 months. It was a little bit easier because it wasn't so bad. But the doctor said, like, think about it like a dry elastic band.
Okay.
And if you pull it apart, you can kind of see parts in the middle start to form
Yep.
little rips and
yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
separate. Yeah.
They called it segmental tearing. So
Wow.
they took a cadaver ACL and grafted it on there.
Really?
Yeah. So
No
I have-
way.
I
Shout
have-
out to the donor.
I know, right? I have 1.5 ACLs now.
Wow.
And,
That's awesome.
Plenty
But it
of
was-
ACL
yeah.
to go around.
Exactly. Now it was about
they
6
weren't using it, right?
Yeah, they were very clearly over it.
Yes.
But it took about 6 months, and when I came back, I still wore a brace for probably about a year after that, just
Oh
for
yeah,
safety.
just to ensure the safety. Yeah, right.
But even now, like it's still very much a psychological thing.
I could imagine.
I avoid certain movements
Yeah.
just because, like, I know it puts my knee in a compromised position. Even though it's strong, I just try to take those precautions.
So you're not doing no double swerve stomps off the top rope right now?
Learn from the
No,
mistakes.
no. I dive off the top rope and do a flip, so I land on my back.
Nice,
Now.
yeah. The back bump.
That one can take a little bit more.
Yeah,
Hell
I
yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
So what does your training regimen or diet as well look like?
Oh, okay. So my wrestling training first, I try to train at least twice a week. I try to help out at the school that I'm at as much as I can, because there's a lot of up and coming guys that are trying to get their reps, and I like to try to, get my reps in with them.
Absolutely.
For the newbies, what is training?
Yes, good question.
It's a lot of reps. It's a lot of getting your footwork down. It's
Are you
a lot
working
of,
with other wrestlers? Like...
Yeah. So we have a bunch of students at the Lockup Training Academy, and a lot of them are out there working. A lot of them are working for Top Rope Pro. Another one of our locals, RWA.
Yes. Yep. Shout out to RWA, man, too.
And these guys are all just like they're on their come up. So I try to be in that same mindset of like, okay, I'm out there working and I'm doing things and I have things to my name, but I can still grow. And getting those fundamentals in and making sure that they're always
like the running of the ropes and even
and your
tough.
conditioning
Even
and your
that's
cardio.
tough.
And
running the ropes is tough. It'll leave that whole side bruised. I've done it a
Dr.
few
Braun
times.
Breaker.
Dude, at 20 plus miles per hour.
That's crazy, man. He's killing me.
No, thank you. Things I don't want to have happen.
Right? He slipped.
Part
he's
one.
Done. That's what I was thinking. He put his ankle the wrong way. Like,
Yeah.
No, he's tight. He's tight on it.
He definitely is.
Yeah. So and especially too like training at the Lockup over the summer. Nothing will get your cardio better because it's on the third floor of a 100-year-old PAL
God.
building in Fall
The
River.
PAL in Fall River.
Yeah.
I've seen wrestling shows there, man.
Yep. And just
performed there too. Years ago.
Yeah, all those, all the heat just rises all the way up to the third floor, and it's just like trying to breathe soup.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, so for the people that may not know, that is what your weekly training looks like as a pro wrestler.
What about the diet?
What are we
part of
eating?
it?
Oh, okay. So I try to do 2 days a week in the ring, and I try to do 4 days a week in the gym. Just basic weight training, stuff for mobility, functionality, all that crap.
Yeah.
But as far as diet, I do give myself a break a lot.
Yeah,
because
I mean, you can't go 24/7, right?
Well, the other thing too is like I understand that I have a lot more leeway in my calories that I can have per day because of all the cardio, because of all the wrestling, because of
so
all
you
the
can
exercise.
put down an oatmeal cream pie sometimes.
Sometimes,
nice.
and I happen to love oatmeal cream pie and Star Crunches for that.
Those
matter.
are
Star
great.
Crunches are. I have them in my cabinet right now.
Oh my
Star
god!
Crunches are awesome.
Welcome to the Little Debbie Wrestling Podcast with Joe, Mike, and Andy.
Talk to me about snacks. I'll tell you something.
Don't even get me started on cosmic brownies. All right.
Oh, yeah.
dude!
We
Childhood
know all about
staple.
that.
Childhood
sex.
staple, right
Yeah,
there.
it's definitely not chicken, broccoli, and rice or anything.
Okay.
but
I mean, I do like that too. But
it's good
that stuff's
sometimes.
good
but
too,
I,
yes.
I at least make sure that my food has flavor and I hit my protein goals.
Yeah.
And just try to make sure that I'm doing cardio every morning to kind of keep on track of anything that I don't burn off.
Smart.
But yeah,
Cool.
it all kind of interacts with each other.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's honestly, not what I thought you would say. I thought you would say, yeah, man, I can't have any bread or like, I can only
Well, that's
drink.
me right now, trying to get not fat.
Honestly, it's the toughest thing in the world being on a deficit and being
I
a
can
wrestler
imagine.
because you just don't have the recovery anymore.
Right.
you know? So I try to stay like right at my calorie goals, maybe a little bit more because like I feel like that's safer.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get to the next question, there's something that just popped in my mind that I did not write as a question, but I think people should know, and I myself would like to know. What's your current theme song? What are you using for a theme song?
A good question. A very fair
Need to know
question.
this.
So I played with this idea for a little while.
Okay.
Originally, it was a Gojira track that I really
Nice,
liked called
nice and
Stranded.
heavy.
And for a little while, it was a Kill Switch song, which I ended up nixing because it just didn't have as much energy as I thought it did.
Okay.
What one? Do you remember?
I think it's Unleashed was the song.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So you had that for a while?
And what ended up happening was we were playing D&D one night, and we had just
Mosh Pit plays Dungeons and
I
Dragons.
certainly do.
motherfuckers.
I have
I used to play a little bit with Tanner.
I have
That's awesome.
I have a level 12 Giassi water mage.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I actually may have said that a little bit incorrectly because our group has been down a little bit. But we had a playlist going with a bunch of like really cool like fantasy metal and stuff like that. But it was like also a gamer playlist. And
Okay.
Hell Yeah popped up.
Yeah.
I love Hell Yeah.
That's is that Vinnie Paul's band, right?
Yeah, it's
Cigarette Mudvayne.
Vinny and Chad Gray.
Oh, no way. Wow.
And
Oh, so you're using a Hell Yeah song?
yeah, it's
That's
called,
awesome.
It's called Oh My God.
That's cool.
And I just put like I put some like mic feedback sound effects and some like almost barroom brawly kind of commotion-y sound in the beginning.
Yeah, mosh pit going on.
Yeah. And then,
absolutely.
it just kind of like cuts in at that wicked big drum beat.
That's cool. Later on in the show, guys, we will have his theme song running as we go through today in wrestling history, so you will get the chance to hear that. But wrestling theme song that has been chosen is a Hell Yeah track, so give me a hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
That was way too good.
All right, well, next question we have for you here is what are some of your goals as a professional wrestler?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I really do want to wrestle for a gigantic crowd.
Absolutely. I think that's
always
got to be everyone's goal. Yes.
Is do you see your dreams as like WWE top tier dreams, or is AEW your top tier? Or like, what's your end goal?
Or do you even have a ceiling right now?
I mean, I want to keep it open. I think if wrestling has showed us anything, it's that you can end up anywhere.
100%.
You could be in WWE, and maybe that's not the right place for you.
Yeah,
and end up in AEW or NWA.
Or then leave and go back to WWE. You know what I mean? So how many times has that happened where we thought, there's no way?
Right.
Like CM Punk, for example. There was no way he got fired on his wedding day. You know what I mean? Here he is. He's back. He's almost ready to go again.
Vince not being around definitely helps that equation quite a bit.
It's such good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think
That's cool, for sure.
I think like my main goals is to try to just be open to any opportunities that come my way.
Cool.
And I think one of my definite solid goals is I want to go to Mexico.
Lucha, Libre,
wow.
Yeah,
everything. Yes, that would be cool. Imagine what you could learn there. You know
that's what I'm saying is like
not even just performing. Imagine what you could learn there in the home of Lucha Libre.
And especially with like I'm not sure if you guys know this, but you brought up how my trainers have like a great history.
Yes.
And one of the things that Matt Taven did was he wrestles in Mexico. He
did not know that.
Went down to CMLL. I'm not sure if he still does, but that was always something.
He did CMLL.
Yeah.
And those guys are being featured on AEW right now. The guys and girls of the CMLL.
Yeah, and I always felt like that was a worthwhile thing to have in your wrestling arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I'm not going to be a luchador per se, having more styles of wrestling underneath your belt, being able to train with other people and getting different insights and how to make good wrestling, I just feel like that would be invaluable.
You can't put a price on that,
bro.
Yeah. So, like, hey, WWE, I would love to go. I would love to see what I could offer and bring to the table there. Same with AEW. I think short term, I would love to see myself in somewhere like NWA. Or
NWA would be great, man. That's a very prestigious company.
I would love. I think New Japan would be an awesome opportunity.
Even TNA would be great. You got guys that like Sammy Callahan, who was wrestling around here all the time. He was one of their top guys, and if maybe even still is. I'm not too current with the product, but he was big for them.
I would say that Impact, in my personal opinion, has one of the best like pound for pound wrestling presentations.
Oh yeah, I mean look, LA Knight, where did he come from? AJ Styles, where did he come from? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And these are things that most people just don't know. So yeah, you're open to going anywhere. You don't really have any. I want to go here and that's it. I feel like the tribalism nowadays is a bit much. Let's just enjoy wrestling, guys.
Yeah.
It's for everybody. Everybody's going to have a little bit of different flavor of ice cream.
Yes.
That's what something my trainers used to say is like, everybody's got different flavors of ice cream. Some people like chocolate. Some people like vanilla. Some people like a bunch of stuff in there.
Some people don't. Yeah, right.
It's awesome hearing the up and coming wrestlers' perspective. Because I automatically always assume that the top of the tier is WWE champion, world champion in front of a sold out crowd, but that's not always the case these days. It's not always, you know what I mean? It's good to hear what you think, you know what I mean, and what you feel. You know what I mean? Because we automatically assume, because we're just big WWE fans over here in AEW.
Yes.
I know we rarely watch the little things.
You know?
And,
right.
there's some really quality stuff out there.
And a lot of it is there's just not enough time in a day for some
that's
of us.
exactly.
You know,
I'm trying to do a podcast on two things.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know.
We've already mentioned 5 different companies.
Literally.
I've been thinking about watching TNA, and I've been thinking about watching it. On
Everything with the
Japan.
rebrand, you know what I mean? And NXTNA now, what they're doing with the crossover.
You know,
is
as
really
far
cool.
as far as wrestling goes, that's some of the stuff that I'm most excited about. Like, shout out to Jordan Grace for smashing through
dude, she is so
every
cool.
boundary that there is in wrestling
Literally.
right now, and
Literally.
opening the door for all the other women and,
Yes.
and all the other men too. I think that what she's doing right now is just amazing, and she deserves all the flowers that she's getting.
She really does. It's so cool. And now, you know, I know we've been hitting Mosh Pit with a lot of wrestling-related questions. Obviously, this is a wrestling show. He is a pro wrestler. We're going to dig a little bit into his personal life and some things of his times past here. Mosh Pit, if you would, tell us a little bit about your time serving the United States of America.
Ooh, man, deep dive.
Yeah, we're going there.
So I joined the United States Marines when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
I did. I served for 5 years. I got to be alongside some of my favorite people that I'll ever know. You know, obviously it wasn't just like all sunshine and rainbows. But,
Of course not, man.
I think that my time in the Marines was transformative. It made me into the man that I am today, and the man that I want to be.
I can imagine.
I feel conflicted sometimes because I feel like some people are advocates and they'll be like, "Oh, well, it was great for me, and you should do it." Like, it's not for the faint of heart.
Definitely, I can imagine, dude. I know. I can straight up tell you, I do not have what it takes to do it. You know what I mean? It just wasn't in the cards for me. And, you know, the fact that you did it, you can say that you've been there. Just, man, thank you for your service, dude, for real.
Yeah, for real.
I appreciate that, guys, because I'm proud of my time. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to serve my country and kind of give something back. Because I'll be honest with you, at the moment, I feel like I'm living the dream, getting to be able to wrestle and to have
yeah.
a good career,
Yeah,
and
man.
you know, be really happy in life. So I don't think I would be able to do any of that. You know, I was kind of a little punk kid.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
17,
weren't we
I-
all at some point, you know?
I had no direction. or
That'll
anything.
settle you right down, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So, were you stationed anywhere? Or?
I spent a majority of my time on the West Coast. I was
Okay.
stationed by San Diego at Camp Pendleton. I did a few cool little things. I got to be a marksmanship coach for a little while.
That's
but
cool.
My main job was I fixed helicopters.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I was a metalsmith, and I worked with composite materials
That's
to
cool.
fix Huey's, Cobras, and 46s.
No way.
Yeah.
As Carlito would say, that's cool.
That is cool.
That is cool, right? Cool, man. Yeah, we don't have to dive too deep into that, but it was something that I personally was interested in. Never really got to talk to you about it. We haven't seen each other in, I don't know, maybe over a decade. So
At this point, let's not date ourselves, though.
yeah, seriously, I did not even have a child. You know what I mean? Now he's about to be 11 on Sunday. Yeah, so dude, once again, thank you for your service. Andy, thank you very much.
All right, so very interesting question. How much pressure is there being the world champion, the world heavyweight champion, of multiple wrestling promotions? There must be a constant pressure to be performing at your highest level. You know what I mean? And I'd hear about it.
Yeah, very much so. So I think that there's some of that is like very much direct pressure. Like as far as your bookings go, you always want to make yourself available to those promotions first. They kind of take priority.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's your responsibility. But I think the rest of it, as far as having good matches and even down to like being a leader in the locker room, that's more down to like a self-motivation kind of thing. Like, how important is it to you? And it's very, very important to me. I think I want people to know when I come into the locker room that, even though I'm the one holding the belt right now, I don't think that means that I'm better than anybody. I don't think that means I get to talk to you in a way that's unfair or anything like that. You know what I mean? I want you to think of me as somebody that, like, hey, if you want some advice on your match, or if you want me to watch your match while you go out there or whatever, like, hey, I want to be approachable.
Some pointers after the fact. You could
Yeah.
have done that pile driver a little better. That would probably mean a lot to a young up and coming guy from the champion.
Right,
You know what I mean?
And I think that was an important thing with especially the champion who I won the belt from, Channing Thomas, probably one of the best wrestlers in the country right now.
That's awesome, man.
And
you got to take that strap from. Was it a ladder match?
No, it was a ladder match to win my. It was basically a Money in the Bank type of briefcase contract that I won in a ladder match to get my championship match.
Yes.
But we just had a good old fashioned wrestling match.
A wrestling match, yeah.
And
some headlocks and wrist locks.
There was some stuff in there. But he was always kind of. I'd say a role model, but almost like a guide for what par for the course was. You know, be a good wrestler, be dedicated to your craft, but be a good and decent person in the locker room. And
Support.
Hell yeah.
You know, I don't know, be a good brother, you know?
Yeah, man. It's a brotherhood. You're out there, you know.
You're all in it together.
Yeah.
We're all there because we love wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And I just want everybody to know that, hey, man, I love wrestling like you do, and I just want to make the best event, the best show, the best match that we can have.
Yeah, man, and you know, a good match doesn't just come from one wrestler. You know what I mean?
No, it starts at match one.
beautiful.
It starts at match one, and it goes all the way to the end of the card.
Absolutely. So yeah, you could, I could imagine there was a lot of pressure walking around with the gold. Nevertheless, 2 of them. Did you win them both within the same time period?
No, so WFA, I won the heavyweight championship just about a year ago. Just hit my
It was 365, right?
Yeah,
that was the WFA.
That was
Okay.
that was June 10th last year. That
Ah, no way.
Faced Brian Malonis, one of my favorite matches still to this day.
That's awesome.
And then the top rope heavyweight championship, I just won recently.
Yeah, I saw that. That is a big one, man.
It was.
That is a big one.
Lot of
since
heritage.
1981, right?
Ton of heritage. Both of my trainers have held that championship, which obviously means quite a bit to me. I feel like I'm trying to carry on a little bit of that legacy.
Absolutely, man. It's like you go into it with a chip on your shoulder a little bit. You know, how does it feel walking around as the champ?
I mean, I try not to get that diluted big-headedness because I feel like
It's gotta be tough, though.
It is. We work in a business that is driven by ego.
Absolutely.
You know, I just try to say, all right, I'm going to leave all my ego stuff out there, and when I come through the curtain, hey, I'm just going to be me. I'm just, just a dude.
That's cool, man. And I think there's no better way to be a champion than to help out the little guys. You know what I mean? Be a locker room leader for the boys, if you will. So cool. Really, really nice question and nice answer there. Next up on the docket, we have one that I'd like to hear right now. What is, if you could only pick one, what is your favorite match that you've had so far in your career? One.
Ooh. Okay.
Putting you on the spot.
This is
good
definitely
question.
it's a good question. So I'm inclined to say that it was my championship match
Hell yeah.
with Brian Malonis a year ago. And the reason that I would say that one is not because I think it was my best match. Part of me feels like I was barely even ready for that.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, man.
It really is. And going into that, I was nervous. And I think it was.
I can imagine the
I think it was
nerves,
the
man.
last time that I was really truly nervous, though. And Brian Malonis took such good care of me. You know,
It's important to take care of your opponent.
I learned so much from that guy, and he really showed up and showed me what it meant to be like a pro wrestler that can stand on his own 2 feet. And
Yeah.
I think that's why that's my favorite match. You know, it isn't the best match I've ever had, but it
doesn't have to be.
But it's
you know?
it's the one that meant the most to me as far as my own personal growth.
Right, and that's exactly it. It's not always about the match where you did the best flips or the best tricks. You know what I mean? It's what you felt, you know, during that match and during that time that will stick with you, you know, forever. So you heard it here on the Source Wrestling Podcast. That would be Moshpit's favorite match of his career, his title win, which I think is really cool. Mike, you want to take this next one?
Absolutely. All right, so everybody's wondering it. What's your ultimate dream match? Ooh. I'm going to further that by saying, what's your ultimate dream match with what wrestler?
Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to say.
Okay, so are we saying like a wrestler and a stipulation?
Sure.
It
I
doesn't
like
even
it.
have to be. In
I
my
like that.
mind,
I like that.
I like
I wanna
that
hear
too.
what stipulation
But in my
do.
mind, I just
Okay.
want to know who's the top guy that, you know, if you could ever have a match with anybody, past or present, who would it have been or who will it be?
Okay, so I'm going to put a proviso on this only because it's something that I haven't done. So up there, really up there, would be a match with one of my trainers.
That would be cool.
That would be just sentimental. I would really love to do that. I think that would probably go down in my in my ultimate favorite matches. That would be a highlight.
Teacher versus student.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a classic story.
Student usually always comes through.
Usually.
Just saying.
Just odds are in your favor.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing would be, at least in this situation, both of us are champions, so we can't lose.
I like it.
But okay, so as far as a dream match,
yes.
like if I could concoct something in my head that
yes.
would just be like my ultimate fantasy, I would say Tokyo Dome.
Okay. Oh, we're thinking big here.
Tokyo Dome.
Like Jericho Omega style Tokyo Dome.
I'm thinking, because he is one of my favorite wrestlers. This might be a little bit obscure, but as far as Japanese wrestling goes, I think Shingo Takagi is just... He's older now, and he still goes like he's 20 years younger. Like he's
New Japan talent? I'm not familiar.
Oh, no, Shingo Takagi? Oh, you got to look him up.
New Japan Pro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
I'll do some homework on him.
He's kind of legendary in New Japan.
There's
And
so much
I'm so underplaying this right now. He's like a wrestling god. But yeah, like Tokyo Dome, that kind of match, strong style, like let's just beat the piss out of each other and see what happens. That would be, I think, a dream match for me. That would be...
That's cool.
Hell yeah.
Would there be any type of stipulation that you would put on it?
I would just say, like, maybe we could just do a no holds barred or something like that.
Yeah. Throw the rules out
that
the
way
window.
we can throw punches. We won't get disqualified for anything.
Yeah, you can go into the ring, grab a chair, a kendo stick, whatever.
I got a follow up to this.
Go.
My wheels are
Go.
spinning.
Okay.
And that's what we're all about here.
It's a 2-part question. If you got signed to AEW right now, who would you want to feud with?
I like that question.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
There's so many high octane guys there.
I know. And
I'd pick MJF, and I'm not even wrestling.
Oh, he's better than you, and you know it. So,
go for the top dog or the top wolf, whatever you want.
the wolf of wrestling.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have a world
If I could have
class
anybody-
match
okay.
with Ospreay.
Oh,
You know what? I'll throw this out there because I think no matter what, it would be a good match. Orange Cassidy.
oh my God!
yeah.
Freshly squeezed. We praise
That's
him
great.
so much on this
Yeah.
show. Love him.
Yeah.
Love everything he's doing.
I think he's doing
one of the
great,
most
yeah.
unique gimmicks I've ever seen,
Yep.
and it's like not even a gimmick. You know what I mean?
He just doesn't care.
He doesn't care. His
It's
catchphrase is, "I don't have a catchphrase." So
And I just and thinking about it like that, okay, especially if I wanted to make an impact coming into a televised wrestling product,
Yeah.
like who do I think that I could stand out with, and who do I think I could be really entertaining with? Somebody like that, I feel like we could do something really fun.
And the follow up to that would be if you got signed to the WWE, it doesn't matter, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, wherever it is, you can pick any of it. Who would be the person that you feud with over there?
Oh, that one's easy. Mello.
Oh, yeah.
I did say earlier that you were him.
Yeah, you did. And I almost had to correct you because that is another New England boy and he deserves his flowers.
Yeah, Boston, right? Boston,
Very much,
Massachusetts.
sir. Very much so.
I love
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony, and I'm kind
Carmelo
of
Hayes.
weirded
Carmelo
out by-
Hayes.
Oh,
Carmelo
I'm sorry.
Anthony was a
Carmelo
basketball
Anthony.
player, man.
We gotta cut that out.
No, you're not getting edited out.
Fine, keep it. All right, but Carmelo Hayes, I'm a big fan. Obviously, not a big fan because I didn't get his name right. But
Melo don't
I
miss.
I don't like what they're doing with him right now. I don't. I thought he had such a great NXT run, and then him going heel kind of got funky, and I really hope they do something with him in WWE because there's so many other superstars right now that came up from NXT that are doing, like Braun Breaker's getting really pushed, and I really hope that Carmelo doesn't get lost in the shuffle because I loved his NXT run.
So I'm gonna take devil's advocate on this one
love it.
because I think I see it just slightly differently because I do agree with you. I want to see him shot to the moon.
Yes.
because he
Deserves
deserves
it.
it. Thank you.
You
I didn't
deserve
want him
it.
to drop the title in
100%.
NXT. I was like,
I know.
the heck, I was enjoying
It was
this
a good
run.
run.
I know, like
Yeah.
I kind of wanted him to be indestructible
Yeah.
and kind of go, 4 years with it, whatever.
Right?
But here's what I'll say about that: like you got guys like Braun coming up from NXT, but they're making room for him right now. And what Carmelo is doing is he's having these huge one-off matches with
Cody Rhodes.
with
Yeah.
important
LA Knight.
people.
Yeah.
He's getting in there and he's getting these great big matches. And
seen
while
that,
while
yeah.
he might not have any in-depth story right now, I would say that I don't think they're worried about him because he can work. You know, he can go out there and have a match with literally anybody,
and it's good.
And it's going to it'll be on Meltzer's radar at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so
That's
like I would say I see where you're at with that, but definitely don't lose hope because Carmelo's going to be a company
They got plans
guy.
for him.
They know where they're going to go with him. They're using him to what they know he can do right now, and I promise you that guy's got a ton more in the tank.
Okay, I see he's been having a little feud with LA Knight right now, which I've been a fan of too.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
And LA Knight cooked him backstage on the mic too. You know, Melo was probably nervous. You know, you're in there with a guy who's got the charisma that I haven't seen in a very long time, and he ended up botching some kind of promo, and LA Knight just cooked him. You know, it was. I mean, he got the name wrong. He said that LA Knight was going to wrestle LA Knight, and
that honestly, like sometimes that stuff just
he recovered
happens.
so well from
did.
that mistake.
He
I was
did.
very impressed. It was very professional, and LA Knight took advantage of it well too.
Of course he
so
did.
It was good on all fronts.
That shows you how great they are on the mic, the both of them.
Mm-hmm. No, I literally like him just coming up and making that mistake, to see him just like nothing ever happened. Just it was really cool to see. For me.
Absolutely. Before we get to this next question, though, I have another one off the top of my head that I want to ask you, Mr. Moshpit. What's your current finishing move, and what is it called?
So my current finisher is it's a full Nelson slam that I call the Crucible.
Nice.
Shout out to Test, R.I.P.
Is that where you got it from? Yeah,
yes.
he rocked that move heavy.
Yes,
Andrew Martin, rest in peace.
Another
man.
fellow Andrew.
Yes, yes.
And I have kind of a history of taking on gentlemen that are much bigger than me, and I can't always hit them with that.
Yeah,
so
that's one that you can't hit on everybody. Right.
As an alternate, I have is my stage dive, and that's a top rope atomic senton or a swanton.
Yes, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Cool. I like it. Obviously, depending on who you're in the ring with, who you're working, depends on what kind of move you can hit on them, of course. Because if you're working with Andre the Giant in there, I don't think you're hitting that full Nelson slam. The Crucible.
No, I would argue I probably couldn't even lock that full Nelson in.
Nice. I like it.
The height difference alone.
Yep, very very good point. Mm-hmm. I'd be like one of those dudes just trying to put the chokehold on, but it's like just completely wrapped around.
Yep.
No baby oil.
Here's your peanut.
Yeah, I just had to ask you that one. It wasn't one that was on the list, but I feel like everyone needs to know that as well. But while we move on, I am going to ask you, as a fan, who's on your pro wrestling Mount Rushmore? If you could pick 4 guys, who would it be?
Okay. All right. So I know we talked about Shingo Takagi earlier.
Yes.
He's definitely up there. Just because I love the way he brawls and I don't know. There's something about an intimidation factor of somebody
for sure.
That just I appreciate. Got to throw Stone Cold up there.
Of course.
He's on mine.
Yep, he's on mine too. We had an episode where we did ours. I want to see where yours is at now.
I have to say CM Punk because I've always been a CM Punk fan.
Love it.
I can take issue with politics or whatever, but as far as being a wrestling fan, I always enjoyed watching CM Punk.
Same.
Goated.
And this last one is, I can't believe I'm saying this at this point in my life, but the last one is John Cena.
Dude,
Okay.
I can't argue with you.
And that's because of the Cena effect, right? Like originally,
it means so much to the business.
Originally, when I first got into the wrestling business, I didn't like John Cena because he was like the crowd favorite, and he seemed like
he was Superman.
He was being, it was the one. It was the guy that was being put in front of you.
Yeah, shoved down your throat at that point.
And then, as I kind of grew and learned a little bit more, I learned why Cena is just the best wrestler in the world.
Absolutely.
And that's because he himself transcended wrestling.
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
He did something that nobody else has ever done. Ever. And it worked. If you go back to the ruthless aggression promo.
That's true.
To him now,
Right.
completely different human being.
Think about what his mindset must have been back then too.
My
I'm going to
God.
be the wrestler's wrestler. I'm going to be this and that. And look where Cena is now. He's the definition of Cena is he's got his 5 moves of doom.
And he's a
you
class
can't
act too.
see me.
Right. Right. Everyone knows it. But didn't he actually add a 6th move of doom? Wasn't
I
it
remember,
the Canadian Destroyer? That was the 6th move of doom.
Yeah, I think
believe
so.
it was.
Was that a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam?
Might have been. I remember him adding that, like John had never, and he's doing a Canadian destroyer in jorts. And I thought that was really cool. So yeah, your Mount Rushmore is.
You had three that we totally didn't have. I had Andre, Hulk, Stone Cold, and Undertaker.
Yep, and my Mount.
Like I would have put Taker up there for sure.
Absolutely.
But like everybody loves Taker.
I know,
Sure.
Like,
everybody.
That's why he's Taker.
I'm just thinking,
He's a podcaster now.
Wild, right?
He's a podcast.
Wild to think about the dead man.
Has to have one of the. I know that there's probably wrestlers that have wrestled for a long time, but he not only wrestled for a long time, but he was a top guy for longer than probably anybody
Over
ever.
30 years,
and that's
man.
why, you know what I mean?
And he was that locker room leader. Like
He
you
sure
hear,
was.
You hear all
He
those,
was the
those
boss.
shoot
Like Andre
interviews.
was the boss.
Yeah.
Taker was the
You
boss.
hear all those interviews from the boys
And
about
that's-
how
yeah.
much Taker
If
like
it wasn't
led
for
it.
Taker, yeah.
If it wasn't for Taker, you know, it like the Montreal Screwjob, like
Yeah,
you know,
he
you
was
hear
pissed.
you hear both of them talking about how like he was madder than everybody else.
Yeah.
you know.
That's kayfabe, and obviously it took him 30 years to reveal Mark Calloway to the world.
Right,
So,
right.
You know, my Mount Rushmore was Hogan, Flair, Austin Rock. That was mine.
A solid 4.
You can't argue with it.
No.
You know? But I like how Mike had Andre on his because if it wasn't for Andre,
and Hulk,
you know,
I feel like
yeah.
we wouldn't be where we are right
No.
now if that didn't like
WrestleMania 3.
WrestleMania 3,
Pontiac Silverdome brothers.
It was larger than life, and it really that was the first time that the magic of wrestling I feel like was really captured.
100%.
Right, because you think about
Yeah.
before that, like you had Bruno Sammartino who was champion for like
Forever.
7 years or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact count, but I think it was
get a little boring.
years.
I think
it's
yeah,
8
something like
years.
7 or 8 years, and like there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare around.
Yeah,
No.
it's just,
You know.
that's who it is. That's who
Everyone
the
knew
champion
who
is,
Bruno Sammartino was, but he just wasn't that attraction.
Right,
Like
but
a
you
Hulk
think about
Hogan
you
or
think
an
about the
Andre.
moment when Hogan slammed Andre the Giant.
That was what everybody
Time
was
stood
waiting
still.
for, and no one knew
Yes.
if Hulk could do it.
Hulk
Can he
didn't even
slam
know if Andre was
the
going
Giant?
to let him.
Yeah, and that's how easily people could have been entertained back then because they had never seen anything like
right.
that. You can't do that
And
now.
no,
you know you got to
no.
do a triple
like-
flip off the.
It's like
you know
Rey
what I mean?
Mysterio
Like,
trying to slam Omos or
450,
something. you know?
450 corkscrew, kick out at one.
Even so, wouldn't be the same because it's been done before.
Right.
Rey Mysterio slamming Omos wouldn't be as special because Hulk and Andre happened.
They have done
And
it.
That's the point.
Right, and
Yeah.
the business wouldn't be where it's at without guys like Andre the Giant for putting over Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
in a career that he was never defeated.
Very selfless
You know,
wrestler.
selfless
man.
guy,
Yeah.
gone way too soon. Wish we could have saw
Way
a lot
too
more out of the eighth wonder of the world. Mount Rushmore. We got a little off topic there, but that's okay. That's why this is a wrestling podcast. We can just talk and have a good time. Mike, why don't you take this next question here?
Okay. Well, when you're not wrestling, what are your favorite hobbies? What
We
do you
gotta
do? What do
know.
you do in your spare time? We know that your life consists of wrestling, training, and working out. What about the rest?
Well, I happen to really like my career.
Okay,
Which
let's talk
I'm
about
like, I'm really fortunate to have a great job that I love doing, and it ties directly into wrestling as well.
Perfect.
Because my lighting work, I was just telling Joe a couple of minutes ago,
Yes.
like in my car right now, I have 3 shows worth of lighting equipment in my car that I'm about to drop back off at the rental, because you know I'm going out to shows, but I'm wrestling, but I'm also providing lighting, I'm designing, I'm programming and stuff.
Yeah, you've always loved that.
Yeah, and I also like to be able to come to the table with a little bit more because wrestling is so popular. There's so many wrestlers out there nowadays. I want to be able to say, well, you know, hey, what do you bring to the table? Okay, well, I can add to your card. I can wrestle. I can do.
You can
everything.
also add to the visual presentation.
I can do everything that anybody else coming off the street with doing ring crew could do for you, but I can also add you professional production expertise. You know, I can
I'm
tell
sure
you how
there's
to
not a
level
lot
up
of
your
guys that can do
game.
that.
You know, and I spend a lot of my extra time, you know, prepping for those shows. You know, doing some programming and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm very fortunate that I love both of the things that I do, and it never really feels like work. And they are my hobbies. But
That's
like as
cool.
far as just like, you know,
Just hanging out,
just
you
hanging
know?
out, whatever. Lately, it's just like I love going out with my girlfriend. We'll go out for nature walks with the dogs.
Hell yeah, man.
You know, just anything that puts me at peace, and I can kind of like turn my phone off for a little while and
Disconnect
you
from that
know,
world.
just-
Yeah, it's tough
just
to
reset.
do that.
You know, I feel like we're so saturated by technology and
Yeah,
our
man.
social medias and having to maintain all that stuff that it's
Yeah.
nice to
It's nice
just
to
switch
shut
off
off once in a while.
you
I
know,
agree, man.
and maybe just have a little drink. Look, you know, we went to went and celebrated with a couple of friends the other night for my 1-year anniversary. We went down to Galilee.
Hell yeah.
Hit up George's. Got some
Beautiful area.
Got some
right
clam
on the
cakes
water
and
there.
chowder.
Yeah.
You know, a couple
The
of little
typical
drinks.
Rhode Island special.
Right.
Clam cakes and chowder.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, man. Talking about your lighting career now, correct me if I'm wrong. Haven't you done lighting for some pretty big rappers? Can we name a few? Because I know who it is.
Yeah, so the list is kind of big, and
Just throw a few at us.
all right. So Machine Gun Kelly, 50 Cent, Lil Jon, who I actually went on tour with for a little while.
Yeah.
Whoa. Was that crazy?
Stop it.
Or was he is he older now, or was it a party, or like what? Come on, Lil Jon. Like,
It is, and the environment.
were you getting crunk every night?
So like I did have to sign an NDA when I worked with him. So like I can't really talk about like his production stuff.
Yeah.
Or
And you don't have to.
anything that's behind the scenes, but I can tell you about my experience. And my experience with him was crazy positive.
Okay.
Good.
He's still insanely popular.
Seems like a great
everywhere
guy.
he
How
goes.
could he not be
I
popular?
know. Yeah.
Put him in any party.
The first time I went out with him, he sold out. I think it was like a 7,800 cap theater. And
Just a Little John set?
it was
Wow.
one of his live sets. So like the way that whole happened was he had played at the club that I work at. Him and his tour manager really liked my work. My production manager kind of talked me up. They knew that I had audio background. They're like, we need an audio guy, and it worked with me for a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
How long were you on the road with Little John?
So the cool thing was it was only fly out dates.
Oh,
so I didn't
cool.
like actually
Okay.
have to tour or anything.
Yeah, you didn't have
like
to,
that.
be on the grueling pavement.
Right,
Yeah.
so it'd be like
Hell
one show
yeah.
here. I think it was like 2 or 3 shows a month for. It only lasted a little bit because I think they found somebody else that they preferred to work with, and maybe that was a little bit more local. I never really got any answers on that, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I was still no hard feelings at all. I was so grateful to be able to do that.
Hell yeah.
It looks great on my resume too.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so let's see though. Machine Gun Kelly, 50 Cent, Nelly, Lil Jon.
Nelly.
I've done Nelly a couple of times.
Hell yeah. Was it hot in there?
Oh yeah, it's always hot in there.
It's getting hot in
Paulie
here.
D.
Paulie D.
I worked for Paulie D a bunch.
Another Rhode Island special.
So I actually did a grip of dates. Do you guys know who James Kennedy is from Vanderpump Rules?
I'm not sure.
I know the show. I don't really know the characters.
So
that much.
he actually is also a DJ, and he had several bookings with us, and he was probably one of the most fun that I've ever had.
That's cool.
My company was really cool, and they're like, he's here for 3 days. We're going to have you do all 3. So I did 2 shows with him at my home venue, and then I did another one in Connecticut with him.
Nice.
And by that time, I knew his set, and we just had a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, as you can see, it's not 100% pro wrestling all the time. When you're a wrestler, you got to step away from that and, disconnect from that life sometimes to just, find your peaceful place.
I'm sure
if you
you've
will.
done lights for a lot of cool bands too, being a Fat and whatever.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse. That was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite ones because they came. I don't know if you remember. They came through a couple of times, and on their rider, it was like, "We just want static lights. Just put it red and leave it." And
Really?
I was so
That's what they
bummed.
wanted?
Yeah, and they were like, "We don't want haze. We don't want movement. We don't want
Aw,
anything."
man.
I was so
Old
bummed.
school
Like,
guys.
it's one of my favorite bands. And
Hey,
then
at
they
least you got
came
a primetime view.
right, but they came through the 3rd time, and I had worked with them a bunch, and they were very, very nice. And they were like, "Hey, if you want to do stuff. Just please don't strobe in our faces. We're all kind of old." And I was like, "Don't you worry about it. I'm gonna strobe all from behind you."
Yeah. Perfect.
But they let
Perfect.
me. They let me do everything. They let me put haze in there, and Corpse Grinder thanked me afterwards. Highlight of like my
That
one of
dude
my-
has the neck of a wild
champion.
animal.
he has my ultimate respect as a headbanger because that neck is just.
It is ridiculous, man.
I wonder what his workout is.
Yeah,
His
what's
neck workout. It's gotta be some kind of, or is that just how it is?
Headbang to hammer smashed face 30 times
Yep,
sequentially.
done.
No rest.
done?
Only work out my neck. Only.
Another question here, Andy MOSHPIT. This is kind of a multi-question. You can give me 2 answers. You can give me 1, whatever you want. What is the most dangerous match, or maybe the most dangerous bump, or bumps that you've taken?
Okay, so one definitely comes to mind.
I knew there would be one. I knew there would be one.
So, funny enough, both of them involving Brian Malonis again. him and I had a decent feud after I won the championship that kind of continued on. And we had a barrel house brawl. It was at Barrel.
Oh, this sounds interesting.
It was at Barrel House Zia, a brewery in Weymouth. And it was basically just anything goes type of match. And in that match, we did some things on the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I think I ended up taking a dive to the ground at one point on a suicide. But what happened at the end of the match, after the match was over, is basically I won very, very quickly with a quick pin, and Brian Malonis did not like that at all. So after the match,
small package.
I think it was a schoolboy.
Nice, old school, like it.
So I think he hit me with a chair and then just started beating me up and just working me through the crowd, and he threw me over this table that had a bunch of beer on it, and I was able to roll underneath a parked truck, and it was like one of those big box trucks that they use for the brewery.
Yeah.
And I climbed up the backside of it.
Oh,
and
no. I see where this is going.
And as he was looking for me, I dove.
Off the truck.
Yeah, I think it was about 12 feet.
Oh, my God.
And like
through the table?
So he ended up going through the table. Because he is such a massive gentleman, I came down and I basically, I hit him, but I bounced off his chest. And he ended up, falling backwards through the table, and I just, bounced off and hit the ground.
Oh, man. So the table that's necessarily there to break somebody's fall is no longer
right.
there.
We were kind of supposed to both go through that, but he's such a big dude, and because we were both sweaty from the match, and I was covered in beer, I think that kind of helped, hit and slide, basically.
Oh yeah. So yeah.
Lubricating.
So at that moment, it was when you knew you fucked up. Oh, this hurts.
Pause. Narrator come in.
It was at this
Bet
moment.
you're wondering how I got here.
Yeah, so I had a feeling there would be at least one bump or one match where it would stick out in your mind where it's like, ooh, that one was a zinger.
Yeah, I will give a close runner-up to
let's hear it, man.
Brian Malonis again in our first championship match. Right as the match started, I came after him. I dove on him in a suicide dive, but he caught me.
Oh, wow.
Picked me up and dumped me onto a hardwood basketball floor.
Oh, Jesus.
No mats.
Like a gym floor.
Nothing. A gym floor. Just body slam.
Talk about all the air leaving your body immediately.
Man. If you've ever played football and had the wind knocked out of you, it was like that times 10. And to add insult to injury, he picked me up and did it again.
I mean, you can't do it just once.
Well, it's not like I had a choice in the matter.
Yeah. I gotta say, as a former backyard wrestler, because I did that for years, and I don't know how I walked away unscathed. We used to practice a lot. We would train a lot. But I remember one specific bump that'll never leave my memory. Every match we had was Extreme Rules, because we were IBW, Insane Backyard Wrestling. That was the thing back then, light tubes and fireworks and all stupid shit that could have killed me. We had this is like middle school time. We had this one dude who was about 6 feet tall, so he could pick all of us up, powerbomb us. No one else could do it. So we had that big guy. And the spot was I was supposed to take a Death Valley driver onto a ladder. I was supposed to graze the ladder as he put me down. Right. And I remember being up on his shoulders. He's like, "You ready, man?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good to go." Now the ladder is open like this. Uh-oh. And he just overshot or undershot rather and DVD'd me right onto this aluminum ladder, and it just closed. Oh. Like with my spine, the match was supposed to go on. I couldn't go on, and that's something that I'm surprised really didn't do any permanent damage. I can't even imagine what it's like to be doing it on a sometimes daily basis for you.
Well, luckily that stuff doesn't happen on a we train so safe because we have those opportunities.
It's a dangerous gig, man. One wrong move.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Darren Drozdov, for example.
Oof.
Rest in peace.
Val Venus, you remember?
Yeah, of course, Val Venus.
The worst thing I think I've ever seen, aside from I think it was it Darius or Dante that
Martin?
Yeah.
Which one
Top
was
Flight.
it? Yes, those guys are great, by the way.
And it was in that tag team 4-way match where he like snapped his ankle.
Yes,
or something like
yeah,
that. And you saw it in the.
I
move.
remember it.
And I remember just like holding my face, going, "Oh,
Was
God.
it like an over the top rope flip? Like
It was
to
the
the
table,
outside of the
you know,
ring
the
table
tables were
spot?
stacked up.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it,
Yes.
it looked like his
That thing snapped
leg,
like a rubber band.
like his leg caught the edge of the table, and just the table was like the breaking point.
It was like, nah, that's not gonna work for me, brother. Oh, dude. Yeah. So yeah, we had to know, what kind of dangerous spots. And do you have any aspirations of doing any death matches or anything like that? Is that in your bag of tricks?
I feel like those matches definitely have a purpose, and
They shave years off of careers, though.
they do. So I always told myself that if I was going to do hardcore matches, if I was going to do something where we were going to do risky stuff, it had to be for a reason.
It can't just be for nothing.
Either
right.
A, the payday is going to be really good,
Oh, yeah,
which like, hey, if you're compensating me well, we can talk about things. But I think if there was a good reason, like I was in a feud with somebody, and it really called for something like that.
Let's say you were in a feud with Nick fucking Gage.
I mean,
would you take the pizza cutter to
it's-
the forehead?
if it's Nick Gage, first of all, even as a deathmatch wrestler, Nick Gage is very well known for being a very safe person.
Yeah, you can tell from the way he moves in the ring.
Yeah, he'll
With
he'll
the
take all the
magnitude.
crazy bumps, but he'll protect the person that he's in the ring with,
Right.
for sure.
Right.
So like in that situation, if it's Nick Gage, okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I had to know.
I'd have a match with Nick Gage. I think I'd be pretty hype about that.
Dude, hell yeah, man. One of the critically acclaimed deathmatch kings, if you will. I'd put him up there with maybe close to Foley and guys like that. But obviously, it takes a toll on your body. You see how men like Mick Foley are getting around today, and
Yeah. I think about longevity when I think about that stuff. Because
Absolutely.
You wouldn't go against New Jack. Back in the day.
You know how I said that,
He don't care about you.
he don't care if you live or die.
You know how I said if you were compensating me well, we could talk about
How much
stuff.
would that cost him?
I feel like you're gonna have to, kind
Gonna
of
have to add some
throw
zeros.
some zeros. Yeah, exactly.
Dude. Man, yeah, R.I.P. New Jack. That guy did not give a fuck, huh?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, but like how
he threw
how
that
many
dude?
how
Oh,
many
man.
old deathmatch wrestlers do you really see? And I found wrestling late.
Mick Foley.
So like
Yeah, right.
I my clock is ticking. If I'm smart, I could get a good amount of time left and
Yeah.
have a really, really full and fun career.
Yeah.
But if I do stupid stuff all the time,
yeah.
I'm really just
If
asking
you're doing
for
better
true.
nails, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I've always been intrigued by death matches. It's just always something that caught my attention. But I could see that putting yourself in that predicament, even with a guy like going back to the days of Abdullah the Butcher. Where that guy was bleeding all over everybody and giving people hepatitis. And,
Yeah, you look at even Dusty Rhodes towards the end. Look at his forehead.
his forehead.
His forehead
Yeah,
was just
man.
a mound of
It
scar
was
tissue.
just meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. So once again, guys, you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast, and we just want to thank MOSHPIT here for rolling with us, man. It's been a blast. We have really enjoyed having you in the studio, and we are excited to put this out and have everybody listen to your story, which is not like anybody else's. Before we go, though, the floor is yours. Do you have any events coming up that you want to plug? Some socials, your pro wrestling tees? What do we got going on for MOSHPIT right now and in the foreseeable future?
Oh, awesome. So I would definitely tell everybody, if I have one wish, it would be for everybody to go out there and experience some new wrestling, some local wrestling, some live wrestling. It is everywhere. Find it in your hometown, and go and support these guys that are working their way up, because they could be in WWE someday.
Absolutely.
They could be in AEW someday.
Absolutely.
Same thing with your local bands. We always used to say, stay for the openers,
Yes.
because those are the guys that are working their way up.
Exactly.
So first and foremost, go and check out something new. As far as me, I would say check out Top Rope Promotions, check out Wrestling Federation of America, check out Rebel Spirit Pro Wrestling. We have 2 really, really big shows coming up in the next month or so. They're kind of like our WrestleManias for both.
Hell yeah.
WFA.
You defending those straps?
I will
or
be
what,
defending both of my championships on June.
And walking out as champion.
Hey, all things considered, I think I have a good chance.
Cool.
So yeah, July 5th, I will be defending my championship actually against I think one of the last guys to be training at the XWA event. So
oh, no way!
He is also trained under Vincent and Matt Taven.
That's awesome.
For a time, and his name is Riley O'Neill. Him and I are going to go at it for the championship at Top Rope.
Hell yeah!
And then June 29th in Laconia, New Hampshire at High Octane.
Oh, hell yeah! It's like Road Wild style.
Dude, I thought the same thing. We're basically doing our own Hog Wild for WFA up in New Hampshire. That's basically like our big yearly Mania type show as well.
Okay.
And then at the end of July, one thing I'm really stoked about is I'm working with a new company out in Ohio called Extreme Fight World. And
no way!
I'm joining them for their first like big show, and that'll be live on Triller TV. That'll be July 28th.
Nice. Hell yeah. You heard it here, guys. He's got some stuff coming up you're not going to want to miss, even live on Triller. So, you know, in the comfort of your own living room, you could watch MOSHPIT do his thing, and maybe he'll do the stage dive. Maybe he'll hit that crucible. You never know.
Yeah, what are your social media handles?
Yes, please.
You can search for me on Facebook, just MOSHPIT. But my extensions are Tales of the MOSHPIT, TAILZ. And let's see, my Twitter I think is at King Mashdora if you're
nice.
a Godzilla fan. But I do primarily use my Insta. That's where I put out most of my stuff and where I like to stay in contact with people. So if you'd like to follow me, I would very much appreciate it. Stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. Also, if you'd like to check out my pro wrestling tees, prowrestlingtees.com/Tales of the Mosh Pit.
Yes.
I have at least one new shirt that I try to put out every month. And I try to do stuff that's like cool, catchy, and neat little throwbacks that people will like.
Am I right or wrong? You have a Taco Bell shirt.
I sure do. A Live Mosh.
Yes, exactly. Love that. I got to get me one of those because I remember scrolling and I said, "Oh, look at that one. That one is really." I feel like they're all really relatable designs that catch your eye and give them maybe a nostalgic feel.
I just put out an MTV one as well.
Mosh TV?
It's my big M logo with like the MTV TV.
That's cool.
Thing there.
Hell yeah. Once again, MOSHPIT, thank you very much for being the first professional wrestler to set foot on the Source Wrestling Podcast. This is history for us. It only took us 43 episodes, guys, to get here. So once again, thank you. He is MOSHPIT. We are the Source, and this has been a great episode, but we're not done, all right? We're not fucking leaving, as MJF would say. We have some Battle Royal type open discussion questions to hit before we go. So, Mike, let's go.
There's some fire questions today.
Yeah.
New WWE call-ups, love or hate. So
Okay.
I'm going to list them. You're going to tell me if you love or hate it.
Let's go.
And I'm going to say if I love or hate it. And maybe a short reason why, okay?
Absolutely.
So first one up, Lyra Valkyria, love or hate it?
Love it. I gotta say, she had a great run in NXT, and they're making her look strong right now in the main roster. So my answer, love it.
Love it. Agreed and agreed.
Yes.
Next up, Braun Breaker. Love it or hate it?
Can I love it?
Yeah.
Because I absolutely do. He's being booked as a force, kind of Goldberg-esque in a way. The only thing is I wish they would give him the mic more. But my answer, love it.
Yes. Thing is that I think about that one is I'm the same with that. I'm very nervous about how they're building him to be a force like that. It's not believable. It eventually has to break, and I think they broke that up with Ilya, where it was a longer match, and they showed that he handled a little bit. You know what I mean? But if they build him up that way, like what happens if like Brock Lesnar returns? He's like so much more scary than Braun Breaker.
Absolutely.
It diminishes it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want them to build him too high as a force because I don't think he's that scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but what he's doing is absolutely impressive.
Absolutely. Next up is Carmelo Hayes.
Okay, Himothy, if you will.
We talked about that earlier with Mosh
did.
Pit. Everybody knows
Yes.
what we love that. So,
Yes.
we're not going to touch on that too much.
Yeah,
We
love
already
it.
said our piece. If you've been listening, pay attention.
Yes.
Baron Corbin back up to the main roster.
Love it.
Love it.
Just real quick, he's had a career rejuvenation. I want to see him utilized more. He's one of the safest guys in the ring, is what I hear in the backstage talks. Baron Corbin, burn the ships, love it.
Yep. Agreed. Next up would be Kiana James, who's the she's the CEO type lady that comes with the chopper in the background when she comes on, like she's a big executive.
And I'm gonna say I haven't seen enough of it yet to love it, so I'm gonna be neutral here. What do you think, Mike?
I was very surprised by it. I don't know if I love it or hate it or not, because I don't know how she blends into the big leagues.
Okay.
But she definitely has potential. She definitely has a fresh angle and a fresh, like look and everything. So
she's got all the tools. I just haven't seen enough.
I'd
of
say
it, personally.
if there's anybody that might not translate, it might be her. But moving on, we have Blair Davenport. Love or hate it.
That's another one where I have seen a little bit of her work. I like it. I haven't seen much of it. I can't say that I love it.
Well, I've seen a bunch of her work on NXT. She's definitely great, but I thought she had more work to do on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Kiana James, definitely a question mark for me. I'm not sure if I totally love both of those call-ups. I feel like
we
maybe,
can't love it all.
Maybe there might have been some better choices, like... I don't know if they should have kept Trick down. Trick might have been good if he came up.
Yeah, he's got all the tools.
Next up would be, or lastly, would be Dijak back to the big leagues. I haven't seen him
Haven't
broken
seen
out
him
yet.
yet.
I don't know what they're planning for him. But
I love the call-up. I think he has it. He had a very underwhelming run as T-Bar on the main roster before. He gets his name now. He's Dijak. Let him do his thing. Love it.
Let's see what happens. All right, moving on. We want to talk about the Wyatt Six, or whatever they're going to call themselves. We don't know that for sure right now. Their debut. Looks like from all the information we've gathered as a show, they will debut on June 17th. I'm pretty positive about that they will be appearing this Monday on Raw.
They're already filming vignettes. Is
how
what we're
will
hearing.
they unveil this is the question. You're answering it right now, so go ahead.
How will they unveil this? I think it's to hark back. As a wrestling fan, I always want to hark back to something that's already been done, but a little twist. If you remember the debut of Jericho, when he first came over from WCW, it was like this code.
Y2J countdown.
Yep, it was this code that you had to crack, and I feel like with these QR codes, it's been very codey like that. And I think that out of nowhere, everything goes black, and then it just all the attention just moves to that Tron, and we're here.
Yeah, it's finally come to the Tron.
Yes. And
it hasn't been on the Tron yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be that classic Bray Wyatt line, the Wyatt family line, we're here.
Yeah.
And how they do it, I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool if they came through that door.
I think they kind of got to
like
come
Bray
out
did.
and attack somebody. They got to show their force.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
We
they
need
got
to
to make a
start
statement. They can't just come out and say, "Hey, here we are."
Here we are
You
with
know
the
what I mean?
Wyatt Six.
They
or
did
whatever
that
we're
before
called.
with Bray when he came out and then all the characters were in the crowd and they spotlighted him.
And his
Could be
Extreme
something
Rules
like
return.
That.
Yeah,
could
that would be cool.
Something like that.
That would be really cool.
But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. That's our thoughts on it. We definitely think that you can look forward to that this Monday. So definitely tune into Raw.
Absolutely.
We really think that this is about to come to a head. So check
Finally.
it out. Speaking of big returns, predictions on Roman Reigns' return and his battle with Solo, which we think they're lining up.
Oh, yeah.
And what are the new bloodline possibilities? I'm talking about a new bloodline because it seems that Solo has formed his own bloodline that I'm not sure that Roman Reigns is going to want to be part of, and I'm not sure that Roman Reigns is really giving him the orders.
Yeah,
we
don't know.
What do you think? Because I do know, I'm going to say right off the bat that Roman Reigns was on a bunch of programming for August. He was on a bunch of advertisements for late August. He is no longer on those advertisements. They've taken him off. So what do you think's going on?
I think the return of the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, I think we're still a little bit of a ways away from it.
It feels so ominous, like it might happen soon.
I know.
But
we're getting the
my
chance.
brain tells me no.
Yeah, right. My mind's telling me no. I did see a post. Roman, he's photographed with his trainer. He's looking chiseled. He's looking jacked. He's looking ready to go. I just don't know if the storyline has come to fruition yet where he's ready to come back. We're only a few months out from Mania. Yes, he did have one of the most...
SummerSlam, you mean, right?
No, I mean, like, we're a few months post-Mania from him dropping the title.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? we are a few months out from SummerSlam, which I think there's a really good chance we will see Roman at SummerSlam.
So there we go. You're thinking SummerSlam.
Yes, I'm going to say not quite yet, but by SummerSlam.
Okay. Or maybe he was taking off things just so it would be more of a surprise. I'm thinking, maybe...
kind of want to make you forget a little bit, but obviously people are not doing that.
Yeah, so I'd say, I think the appropriate place for him to come back would be SummerSlam to address this issue and to save Paul Heyman.
Yes, who's very terrified right now.
I definitely see that. So, yeah, I think we agree with that. The new Bloodline possibilities, I think he does come back. He does address Solo. He does... put together him, Jimmy J, and maybe even Fatu as well.
Yeah, Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0.
But then The Rock comes back too.
Yes, we can't forget about
if
the
The
final
Rock
boss.
maybe joins the Solo faction.
Because he is a heel.
And then that would mean that there's 2 other signings. I'm not sure the other name, but there are 2 more. There's a Fatu and there's one more, Fatuzilla.
It's Zika Fatu and Jacob Fatu. There's 2 of them.
No, there's another one out there too.
God.
Yeah, and they just signed him.
This Samoan dynasty is unbelievable.
Yeah. So I'd say maybe it could be a 5-on-5 kind of deal.
Yeah. War Games. You know what I mean? Survivor Series is coming up at the end of the year, and what better War Games marquee match than Bloodline versus Bloodline?
Absolutely. And the wrestler that I was talking about is Hikuleo.
Oh, wow. I have
Hikuleo. Just signed. So they do know that they have signed Jacob Fatu. They have signed this, potential Bloodline member too.
Yes.
So there's the 2 to put with Jay and Jimmy and Roman. And then you got, obviously, the 3 that are over there right now, plus... Roman Reigns, and then maybe Zilla Fatu.
Right. The
possibilities
are endless.
We love talking about this stuff, so
Yes.
those are some predictions for you on what's going to go there. We'll move on from here.
Let us talk to you.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about will Dom leave the Judgment Day for Liv Morgan? And the follow-up will be will Rhea Ripley, when will she return exactly? And what will happen when she returns? Is it coming soon? Like, what's up, maybe SummerSlam as well? Go ahead.
The seeds have been planted. And obviously Dom has the amount of heat right now where, at first the Judgment Day were his heaters. You know what I mean? They were helping him get over as a heel. And now he has plenty of that. I honestly and truly think Dom does not need the Judgment Day for much longer.
Nope.
I think he will separate from that group. I don't know if he joins Liv, but I see him separating from the Judgment Day.
Well, we do know that actually Finn Balor put the hotel card in his pocket.
And we did not catch that. Balor's a sneaky little guy.
Yeah, I've had a suspicion that maybe JD... Finn and Dominic jump ship over with Liz in the faction, and then Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and the more serious taken Carlito, and maybe even Andrade get together,
right?
With the
because he's
Judgment
not
Day
doing anything right now, and in the
could
words of
definitely see
Carlito,
that happening.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. And then Rhea Ripley, how do you see it happening with Rhea Ripley coming
I
back?
see the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour just running wild. The Livomaniacs are running wild, and out of nowhere, put the brakes on that Revenge Tour, because that SummerSlam as well, you're going to see Rhea Ripley. That's my take. You're going to see Mommy come back, and she's got a clear view of the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour and her title that she never lost.
Yeah.
I think we see her at SummerSlam.
It's building up. This Liv Morgan run is so good.
So good.
I
can sink my
loving
teeth
it
into that.
a lot more than Rhea Ripley's run. I'm loving it a lot more. It's more drama, more entertainment.
It's because it's not supposed to happen. I feel,
exactly. And maybe Rhea Ripley needed to step away to come back and be even more relevant than ever. Maybe it was getting a little stale with her too, just beating everybody up. You know what I mean? Maybe this was needed.
Nobody could beat her.
All comes to head at SummerSlam, I'd say. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. Put it on your calendar. It's happening.
Mark it.
All right, we're moving on. The Clash at the Castle predictions. We're going to go through match by match. I'm going to start off with the women's tag team title matches. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. 3 tag teams.
Yep, triple threat tag team championship match. I see it going one way, brothers. I don't see those titles leaving Bianca and Jade Cargill's side anytime soon. I say it's a hard-fought victory, yes, but they retain.
I love it. I'd say that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill win this one. I'm about 80% sure.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a chance that Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark grab the titles because they've
been chasing them for a while.
At some point, they're going to want Bianca Belair and Jade to go on their own.
Yeah.
I don't know if now is the time exactly.
Right.
But it all depends on how it's selling to the fans.
Sure
I think
does.
It's selling pretty good. So yeah, I'd say there's a 20% chance maybe that Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark take it. But my prediction would be that overall Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are the champion.
Absolutely. They are retaining the titles.
Absolutely. Next up, we have an Intercontinental title match. Sami Zayn and Chad Gable face off for the Intercontinental Championship. Who wins this match? What's going on?
Here we go. Finally, it's Gable's moment. He's over as a heel now. He is doing some of the best character work I've seen him do. Chad Gable's your new Intercontinental Champion. Put my stamp on it. That's where I'm at with it.
So you're saying?
I'm saying that Chad Gable's the new Intercontinental Champion.
Really?
He's winning this match. That's
I was
what I'm
taken
saying.
back by you saying it. I need to hear you say it again.
He is winning this match.
Wow.
With the Chaos Theory. A little bit of help from his number one guy, Otis, I'd say.
I'm thinking the opposite. This is where our predictions are going to kind of...
And that's why we do this.
I'm thinking that, I think that the Chad Gable's Alpha Academy turns on him for this match.
And that's very, very likely.
And I think that they help Sami Zayn win this match.
Oof.
I think it actually ends up being, it's going to be Otis that gets involved. Question, if Otis got involved in a hit, Chad Gable, does he get the title off of disqualification?
No, the titles cannot change hands.
That's why there's a lot of that in the midst right now.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a title change here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Sami Zayn on this one, okay?
Okay.
Next up would be the Women's Championship, the WWE Women's Championship, Bayley versus Piper Niven. What a cool match. I didn't really expect it.
Something that, exactly, unexpected. My take on this match is Piper comes close. She might even have some help from Chelsea Green, but Bayley retains. I don't see Piper ready as the champion just yet. Mike's skills aren't quite there yet. She's great in the ring. Obviously, she's a force. But I say Bayley retains here on this one. That's where I'm at.
I love it. Now, I'm going to say Bayley too. Obviously, it's a great match to get Piper Niven some more eyes on her, a little bit of pop, but I'd say that Bayley's going to win this match.
Bayley's going to get it done.
They
got to
be setting up as something as well for SummerSlam for her. It's too soon to lose this title.
Yeah,
Piper Niven isn't a proper champion for us all. So I would say that's nah. So next up we have the undisputed WWE Championship I Quit match, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. What do you think? What's going on?
This is a continuation now from Backlash in Lyon, France. These guys tore it down. They're going to tear it down again. And AJ Styles, love the guy. Really do. His whole career, phenomenal. You can't hold a candle to it. But he's going to be saying, I quit. Cody Rhodes is going to make him quit, to put him over even more. To beat a legendary figure as AJ Styles with such a stipulation. Cody Rhodes, and still, is where I'm at.
Okay. I'd say you are very accurate in your prediction there.
Thank you.
Cody Rhodes absolutely is going to win this match. There's a little bit of a, chance that AJ Styles
there sure
could
is.
win
He's
this
a former
match.
champion.
With the whole, if he... got really nothing left after this.
No.
And it might be cool to see him as a champ. Because
Good brothers could get involved.
I did say that, I don't think this Cody run necessarily needs to be, it
doesn't have to be forever.
It doesn't have to be forever. It could be a different kind of championship run, maybe a Charlotte Flair type championship run where she's won it 13, 14
exactly.
times.
It gets exchanged
you know what I mean?
back and forth.
He doesn't have to
back
be the
and forth.
longest championship, but he could end up being the champion that has won it the most times.
Yeah, by the end of his career, it's absolutely possible.
So there's always a chance. My vote is Cody Rhodes. There's a chance, again, I feel a chance,
Absolutely.
But, I'd say Cody gets this one for real. Next up, we have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I think we're both going to predict the same on this, but we'll see. Who do you think wins this match?
Okay, World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Drew McIntyre versus El Campeón Damian
Judgment
Priest.
Day banned from ringside.
Judgment Day is banned from ringside. He prayed for this, and it happened. Drew McIntyre is your new World Heavyweight Champion at Clash of the Castle in Scotland, his homeland. Book it, love it, or leave it. Drew McIntyre is leaving with that championship.
I love it. I'm going to say the same. Drew McIntyre beats Damian Priest for the world title.
Oh, yeah.
In, his home city.
Yeah.
Big pop, big ratings for that. I like it. And then, it sets up him and CM Punk for
It sets it
SummerSlam.
up perfectly.
And it's a storybook,
Storybook
thing.
ending.
So
Punk,
we'll see.
he comes back for the Royal Rumble. He gets hurt. We think he was supposed to go over in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And it got audible to
It'd
Cody.
be so perfect if this lines up for SummerSlam. Punk
Yes.
takes the title off him at SummerSlam and makes a run with Seth Rollins for WrestleMania, because I want to see
He's
Seth
coming
Rollins
back.
versus CM Punk for
I believe I
WrestleMania.
tagged you in a video of him training, and that knee is looking good,
Yep,
man.
we're feeling good about that.
Absolutely.
All right, we get some more questions, a couple more.
Yes.
Just two more. We're going to go AEW on these two.
Okay.
MJF, where does he go from here? We know he has the match with Roosh.
Yes.
But where does he go? Where's he going from there?
I mean, he did put the entire All Elite Wrestling roster on notice.
Which makes it a little more confusing.
Yes, yeah, he did.
Honestly.
But he does things his own way. He's now rolling with this Wolf of Wrestling gimmick. He's retired the scarf, the suit, the tie. You know what I mean? That was all part of that video package at Double or Nothing. I think.
Which I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I think it was time. You know,
Okay.
I think it was time. He's been doing it for a long time, and who says he can't bring it back?
You're
You know
right.
what I mean? He totally can. But as for right now, I think he's going to use Roosh as a stepping stone to show that he's back, to show that he's still got it. And I think he's going to be in the World Heavyweight title picture immediately after that. That's just my opinion. He did call out Swerve, whoever the champion may be after Forbidden Door, whether it be Swerve, whether it be Will Ospreay, who could be a double champion. MJF's coming for the Triple B, the big Burberry belt. He's coming.
Okay. So you think this sets up that title match for when?
Oh, boy. I'm going to say maybe by All In Wembley. It's a little while out. He still has time to create storylines and to create rivalries. But I'd say at All In, you're going to see MJF, competing for the championship that he lost to Samoa Joe in such sad fashion back at World's End. That's where I'm at.
Okay. I can see that happening. I do think that, it's going to come down to him and Swerve. I don't think that, Ospreay will take the title.
Yeah.
I think that it'll be Swerve winning that matchup.
I
It
think
sets
so,
up
too.
Maybe some MJF. But it's weird because what is Ospreay except for brought in to be the top guy?
Yeah,
Where does
right.
that fit in with MJF? That's what I want to hear from you, because you're the AEW guy. I don't have much to say.
That
but
is
how does
me.
how does that work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I mean, MJF was obviously the backbone of AEW for so long when Ospreay wasn't there. Now Ospreay's here. He comes in while MJF is out, and I myself don't really see how that's going to work just yet. I think they will cross paths eventually, because upon MJF's return, he did take mega shots at Will Ospreay. And I think it's just going to be a match that everyone's going to want to see. Might not need much storyline to it. It's MJF versus Will Ospreay. Maybe even for the international title. You know what I mean? MJF has not held that title. Maybe, Ospreay loses to Swerve, and then they create a program with Ospreay and MJF. And it's for the international title, a title that MJF has not held yet. And honestly, he could even elevate the prestige of that title even more. So I'm thinking that's possible.
Yeah, I'd see it. I like the prediction. We're going to move on to our last question of the night.
Yes.
It's going to be, does Okada drop the title eventually to Kenny Omega like he did in NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Okay, and man, these guys have had some banger after banger after banger type matches, and I'm gonna go ahead and say when Kenny Omega's ready, yes. They obviously have unfinished business. Kenny Omega, great wrestler. Okada, he's really growing on me, especially with his funny promo work now, calling everybody bitches in AEW. Everyone in the crowd is a bitch if you're the Rainmaker. Rainmaker versus Omega. I see Omega capturing the title. He was the belt collector at one point in time, and he has not had any gold to show in a while. And Okada's held this Continental Crown Championship now for quite a while. Rainmaker, move over, because Kenny Omega is coming, and I really think he takes the title eventually. I really do.
Okay, so my prediction, I thought that up. That prediction makes sense. That's
I like it. Yeah,
fetched.
they have not at all. They have plenty of history.
Okay.
From New Japan and all that, and now that the Rainmaker is here in AEW, when Kenny is ready, he's been out with diverticulitis. When he is ready, I think that will be a match for us to sink our teeth into, and I think Omega comes out on top and starts his new belt collection.
I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Guys, it's been a pleasure tonight. It really has. We're not going to keep you for too much longer, but we have a little bit to go. We are going to give you some On This Day in Wrestling History with a special friend of ours. Stay tuned. And before we go, guys, we are going to jump into a little bit of On This Day in Wrestling History, and I would like to ask MOSHPIT to join us in reciting this today. It's going to be the first time we've ever done this today in pro wrestling history with Joe, Mike, and MOSHPIT. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on this day in wrestling history, Mike is going to start with the notable wrestling birthdays, 6/14. Let's go.
All right, on this day in wrestling history, we have our notable wrestling birthdays for you. We're going to start off with Junta Miyawaki. 1997 they were born, so they must be a wrestler that are around right now.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar, but we're going to shout out their birthday right now. Familiar?
No, I'm not
Okay.
familiar.
Dan Tamura, 1996 he was born, so another younger up and coming wrestling person.
We're getting
Late
some
20s,
oddities
I'd say.
today.
Late 20s. Peter Avalon.
Oh, pretty Peter Avalon, right?
There we go. We got one.
89,
We got one.
Yeah, he's just 34, so he's in it. Yusufumi Nakanoa, 1986.
It's a mouthful.
I don't know if I even said that right. We're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to them. And then the last one is Tiger's Mask, 1976.
So an older guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so we're talking original Tiger Mask.
Yeah, original.
Right. On this day in wrestling history, in 1993, at a house show in Columbus, Ohio, the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott, won the WWF Tag Team titles after beating Money Inc., Ted DiBiase, and R. Shyster. They would lose the titles back to Money Incorporated 2 days later, but then win them back again 3 days after that.
Oh, wow.
I guess we could say that everyone has a price.
Everyone does have a price. Yeah.
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 And on this day in wrestling history, at a New Japan Pro Wrestling Budokan Hall show in Japan, Koji Kanemoto defeated Sabu by pinfall to become the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. It's notable because Sabu was in it, and I
Absolutely.
was a fan.
Sabu, the genocidal, homicidal, suicidal maniac. We need a whole episode just to talk about him, guys. But on this day in wrestling history, the year is 1998. WCW, the Great American Bash pay-per-view, was held at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, in front of 12,810 fans. On the show, it was a packed house. On the show, Booker T defeated redacted Chris Benoit in the final of their best of 7 series, which was absolutely spectacular back then, making the score 4-3. The win also earned Booker T a WCW World Television Championship match later in the show. And one more worth noting, Chris Jericho defeated Dean Malenko by disqualification to win the vacant WCW Cruiserweight title after Malenko hit Jericho with a chair. And that happened on this day in wrestling history.
On this day in wrestling history, in 2010, Monday Night Raw was in Charlotte, North Carolina. In the opening match, The Miz defeated his now partner, R-Truth.
Oh my God.
John Morrison and Zack Ryder in a fatal 4-way match to win the WWE United States Championship.
And now, as we know, they are the Awesome Truth, and they are absolutely killing it as tag team champions. But guys, we have taken enough of your time. We thank you very much for listening to this very special episode of The Source. And do us a favor, follow the show. It really helps. Rate the show. It really helps. Right now, we are sitting at 5 stars. We can't get any higher thanks to you guys. Once again, you can find the Source Wrestling Podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, wherever your social media boat may float, on X, on Twitter, on Instagram. We are there, brothers. Once again, this is The Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and
Mike.
Yeah.
And until we eat again, it's been a pleasure. We will talk to you. You will let us talk to you next time. And that is the bottom line, because Joe and Mike said so.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Till we eat again.
See you guys. It's the Source Wrestling Podcast.